Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know what I'm here to do. I'm here to join me is Xavier Guerrero and the ones and twos, Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny. How are you guys? Johnny Woodard. Okay, we're live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Go to SamTripoli.gold. Use the promo code Tinfoil and join the Wolf Pack. Precious metals sent straight to your house for as little as $50 a month. Guys, how are you?
Good.
Guys, thank you, everybody who came out to Indianapolis. Had a great time. I love Indianapolis black women. Thank you. Guys, at the end of the month, the 28th, I'm going to be in Long Beach at Jade on the Water. Come get weird. We got a great episode for you guys. We have a great episode. We have Susan Bradford, and she's going to be coming on to talk about her new book, The Saudi Swindle. Anything else, guys?
Hit that like button, subscribe.
Come check me out on Twitter at Johnny Woodard.
All right, guys, enjoy this episode.
Drink from the
All right, let's get into it. It's always a pleasure to have her on. She is one of my favorite guests to talk to. She's got so many great books. She's got a new book coming out called The Saudi Swindle. Please welcome back for yet again. It's always a blessing to talk to her. Susan Bradford. How are you, Susan?
Hi, I'm doing very well, Sam. And I also wanted to say you're one of my favorite hosts. I really love the work that you do. But thank you so much for having me on again. Well,
Susan, you are kind, and that means a lot to us. You are one of my favorite guests to talk to because you do deep research.
Yes, I do.
Into topics that I enjoy hearing about. So, Susan, for those who may not be familiar with your many appearances on the show, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our guests can find you?
Yes, sure thing. So you can find me at susanbradford.org, and I've written a number of books about kind of the bloodlines. I've kind of followed the money and the networks to reveal, I think, the agenda and the agenda behind the New World Order. And my goal is to help the public understand exactly what is happening to them, how we arrived at this position, with the hope that they can become empowered to reclaim their freedoms.
Well, I love it. Real quick before we get into your new book, because this is a topic I really love too, like the whole story of the Saudis and what that represents. So we've been having a discussion on the show, and by discussion, I mean I've been talking to myself, and it is about, is it possible, Susan, in any realm that Jesus already was here for 1,000 years, and that 1,000-year reign was wiped from our history books completely, and it's possible that we are in the end of the little season, Satan's little season? Is it all possible with Tatari and all that stuff? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I've seen some of those videos showing these incredible communities. Like they had they had the free energy and very advanced technologies. I know that technology came from Inner Tartaria, which is China. And my own view is that Jesus provided the historic truth. He established God's government on earth, and I think that Satan's kingdom has overtaken that, and I've kind of documented how that has happened, through diplomacy, war, and finance. But are we at the end of Satan's kingdom? I think yes. I think history is repeating itself. The satanic kingdom is collapsing on itself.
Yeah, I agree with you right there. And, again, and then we'll get into your book, is like, this is, to me, when you break it down to this what is the genesis of, to me, all conspiracies? It is fallen angels versus God, and that is
correct.
the nexus of that, and then it goes from there, and everything can be attributed to that. That's my humble opinion, all the way to the Federal Reserve and all. And we've had Susan on; she's talked about the Federal Reserve and all that stuff. So that to me is it. And so here we are. This is a religious battle. I'm just telling you, I'm starting to see Dave Smith start to wander into that. I'm very excited about. Again, huge fan of his. So let's get into this the Saudi swindle. I love this topic. Where do you want to start?
Okay, I guess we can start as, why oil? Like how did the Saudis, why are they so central to this? And so essentially, the elites, since I would say I'd put this point at the beginning of, at the very end of the 19th century, they had decided that they were going to establish a global monopoly on commerce and oil, and money. So one of the strategies that they would use, they wanted to have access to cheap oil. The reason this is important is that if you're going to establish a global market, you need to be able to transport your goods from one position to the next, one country to the next. You need cheap oil to do that. And so you'll have you might shop around from one country to the next to find the cheapest labor. So, this agenda was established at the end of the 19th century, and then we can go into the world wars where the Saudis they were recognized as having unlimited supplies of oil. I mean, there was just so much there that could last for generations. The British had control of the Saudi government, a lot of influence. And so they needed to determine, okay, how can we take that oil and then apply it to this agenda that they were launching upon the world?
I've heard I'm trying to find the book. That's why I was on my computer. But there's a book out there that I read before, and it broke down that, like, the Saudis, before they were the House of Saud, they were a nomad culture.
Correct.
They were nomadic, and the international banking cabal, we'll call it, discovered oil reserves in Saudi Arabia. And because these guys were basically farmers, right? They kind of made a deal with this international banking cabal, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Susan, that they made a deal, and this was the international bankers did. They made a deal. They go, listen, we're going to set up the whole apparatus to extract your oil. And this is, you just got to agree to a couple things. And they go, you can charge anything you want for oil. We don't care. Whatever you want to charge, you can charge. It's not, you got to agree to a couple things. One, you have to put all of your money into our banks. And
so no matter how much they charge, it's coming back to me anyways.
Yeah, but it's very interesting because they kind of played the Saudis a little bit too, which kind of trapped them. And then I'd love to hear Susan's thoughts on this, is that they go, you have to invest, you have to put your money in our banks, and you have to you have to invest in America. Those are the two things. They go, agree, they don't know. They signed a 50-year fixed deposit, meaning they have to leave their money in the bank for 50 years. And because these guys are nomads, they don't know what they're signing. They're just like, yeah, let's go. So anyways, long story. So Susan, when suddenly something happens somewhere on the planet and gas goes up $1, they're like, we had that. It's all bullshit. It's all complete BS, because most of the oil the gas we're pumping right now is oil that was pumped a year ago, way long ago. It's gone through the refinery. It doesn't affect that. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant and they F up your food and you're like, this food isn't good. They bring back new food and then they charge you more money for the new. Like, no, you made the mess up. But it's super interesting. What are your thoughts on all that, Susan?
Yeah, that's true, Sam. And the World Bank sets the price of oil on the world market, and so Saudi Arabia is the World Bank's development partner, so they can determine how high or how low the price of oil is at any point. And you're right that they got swindled in a way, because they were told to essentially buy dollars, and then buy gold, and of course, City of London can raise and lower the price of gold. So whenever the Saudis needed to buy gold, the price would go up. When they wanted to sell it, the price would go down. And so the cabal, as you've identified them, was always in control. Like they always were able to come out ahead in every deal.
Dude, I never even thought about that. If you control the gold, you control the price. And if somebody wants to buy a big chunk, you raise the price up. And if somebody wants to sell a big chunk, you lower the price. And it's very weird because I don't know if you've seen the guy in Argentina. Have you heard this story? Where he just shipped like 48 billion, some insane amount of gold out of Argentina without telling anybody.
Why?
Nobody knows. He won't tell them where it is or why he did it.
The state gold, like
Look
it's
it
owned
up.
by the
Look
state.
it up.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's super interesting. So what happens is they get the Saudis to invest in America, and a big thing to do is they bought farmland, right? They
I got the story. You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is from something called Kitco News. I'm not familiar
I'm
with
sure
that.
that's legitimate.
The administration of Argentinian President Javier Milei admitted that they moved at least some of the central bank's 4.5 billion in gold abroad in order to, quote, get returns. But critics warned that the sovereign gold could now be seized.
Yeah.
So, 2 million troy ounces of gold is what they have in reserve. So a significant percentage of that has been moved abroad.
I mean, and dude, by the way, did you guys? Okay, I don't want to get off on a tangent. We'll talk about this later because we got Susan for a short time. But so basically, they get these. Okay, let's go with Susan. I want to hear your thoughts on everything. So the Saudi, which is very interesting to me, the House of Saud. They when you go to Mecca, you have to go around and you have to walk around a black cube. And I find that very interesting. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because we also have the discussion of like the Star of David and where the Star of David comes from. And is the Star of David what we think it is, or is it actually another star? And what does that represent as well? Any thoughts?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that the black cube? Doesn't that represent Saturn? And
Yes.
then Saturn in turn represents Satan.
Yes. And that gets into Satan worshiping and how they basically walk around a symbol of Kronos, which is Saturn.
And then, of course, just coincidence, MBS, the Saudi prince, also has a very tight relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
It's crazy, right?
So-
It's all interwoven. It's all
One big
interwoven.
network.
So why don't we get into why is oil important to globalism?
So oil was the means through which they could move products around. Like they wanted to have a global supply chain, and so if oil is very cheap, then you can kind of ship products around. So ultimately, their objective was to have a global market that operate beyond the reach of the federal government. So you'd have our government, United States, give billions of dollars in development aid to foreign countries. That money would wind up in the hands of dictators who would hold on to it. They would enrich themselves, but they would also establish monopolies within those markets. And you might have one company produce one part, another company produce a different part, and they would ship these different parts around the world cheaply, ensuring that these individuals and these networks held a global monopoly. But the only way this works is if oil is cheap and you can control the price of oil, and that's where this petrodollar comes into place, where they wanted to make sure that they controlled the price of oil, they controlled the petrodollar, and that the United States was on the hook to print unlimited amounts of money to develop the world. And I think, as we discussed earlier, the World Bank is the development partner of Saudi Arabia. So this was like one big kind of global infrastructure that they had and apparatus that they'd set up to establish a global monopoly on commerce.
And you have like territory in the Middle East, which is like, Saudi Arabia is one of the few countries that has a really good relationship with Israel. A lot of the other countries don't. It's very important. So if you prop up that government over there, you create, excuse me, everybody, you create a situation where, you have an ally to, what is, our greatest ally, right? So, and then they're, you get them built up on oil. They have a ton of money to buy all your weapons. So now you're constantly selling them weapons all the time. Like all the time. And so it's just a giant, like, weird circle, vicious circle where everything starts to just get in the. So what you do is you prop up Saudi Arabia, you buy all their oil, even though America produces more oil than Saudi Arabia.
We do.
It's so crazy to me.
And we're not even allowed to develop our own oil. We even have, I think, oil in Alaska and other places that we actually ship to China. And China's supposed to be our strategic adversary. And then I think in 2020, or maybe it was 2017, I don't remember the exact date, but Donald Trump actually sold our largest oil processing facility in Texas to the Saudis.
Unbelievable.
You know, it's not even in our interests.
It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable to me. And it's like part of this like climate change movement to demonize oil to me is a giant psyop as well. It's like I think oil's God-given. I really do believe that it's given by God to help us advance and grow. And they've demonized it from telling us it's from dinosaur bones, and there's just a bunch of decaying dinosaurs, so there's only so much oil. I think it's replenishing. I think it replenishes over and over again, and it was given to us by God. So, and then they want us.
When you say like replenishes, you think kind of like oxygen, just the earth makes it over and over and kind of just doesn't stop. When we have a little bit, it'll give us more. Whenever how okay.
Yeah. That's what I believe. Well, I don't know how China has no oil. Like that giant country has no. You're telling me there weren't any Chinese dinosaurs? Is that what you're telling me? There wasn't one Chinese dinosaur. Like, what are you talking? It's like it's such an interesting game they play. It's just so interesting, right? So yeah, it's super interesting. So,
And then,
go on. Sorry.
I was going to say too, like with this global warming, they had this Kyoto protocols, which they had like a universal consensus on global warming. What was it determined by? It was determined by the universities and think tanks, which are funded by the government. The governments are controlled by Rothschild, and this was at the point where they were kind of phasing out the petrodollar. Now all of a sudden they've got global warming. That's like the scientific, and the consensus was like, in the days gone by, you could never question the Bible. It was infallible. Now you have to trust the science. You can't question what the think tanks tell you.
And then you get into where like climate change comes from. It completely and utterly comes from, the Club of Rome, which started out obviously in Rome, and it was just a giant group of, again, I don't know if it's a secret society, but it's like the Bilderberg group. So I guess in a weird way, it's a secret society. But their whole thing was to create climate change to control everybody, to control every aspect of our life, lock us into 15-minute cities, and get us on digital currency, and a really weird thing that Trump did, which bought him a lot of credibility with Americans, was that he got us out of the Paris Climate Accord, which was just the Club of Rome's way of just siphoning money off America to destroy our economy while giving China and India free reign to do whatever they want to. Because this is what they do. This is what the globalists do. They build up an empire, then they destroy an empire, and they just keep moving everything around till they get us to a point where they have us we're in a complete and utter feudal system that's under complete and utter, like, their technological control. Like, that's what I believe is happening for sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, and I think that his withdrawal from the climate accords, I think that was more political because according to like what they had agreed, any government can withdraw at any time, or it's you only can go as far as your people or your nation will allow you to go. So if it makes sense for you to withdraw, then you can pull back, and then you can 2 steps back, maybe 3 steps forward, the next day. But by locking us down during COVID, he advanced this Green New Deal. He was, so I think that he was maybe still in on the plan, though he lent the impression that he was working on behalf of the people.
Oh, can you explain that a little bit more? So what by getting out of it, he's still a part of the Green New Deal?
Yes. So like part of the parameters that they had established were that you go at your own pace. So they don't want to lock people in because they think if you're too rigid, one country or another might not be able to meet their goals. So you only go as far as you're able to, but you're still committed to the wider objective. And once the petrodollar was determined to be on borrowed time, the oil community came up with a plan. This was during the Bush administration on what they would do to kind of respond to the crisis. And what they decided was, okay, look, we only have a limited amount of oil, that was connected to the Saudis. What we're going to do with it is we are going to kind of use that for our own means to, for our own development, but we've got to scale down society. So that meant that, that you'd have to drive less, maybe work from home. You'd have to globalize food production, or you'd have to reverse the globalization of food production. But they wanted to have a globalized control. So instead of going back to local farming, they're now talking about creating lab meat or having a different type of way in which they don't have to kind of send products around the world because they don't have that oil at their disposal anymore. So they're kind of like scaling back society and pushing, electric cars and instead of gas-powered cars, even though we don't have the infrastructure in place, to support all of these electric cars. So, but it's that precise agenda that they had set that's for how to respond to the petrodollar, and that's what was implemented during the Trump administration.
Guys, dude, the crypto markets are insanely entertaining right now. I know people make money, and you can too. You just gotta check out our boy James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. Has it pissed you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for a decade and you still have done nothing about it? It makes sense. Crypto is complicated and really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto to make money like so many have. The CopyMyCrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just got to copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. Just simply copy along. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 54,000 subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put $100 into each, it went on to be well worth $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said to buy it, okay? That one call alone has retired a number of people, including guys in the 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify for yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who have copied James, then pause what you're doing and head over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I said, but my viewers will get a full access for just $1. Yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, but there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of it? Guys, don't waste your time. Go to the site and read it. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. Guys, it's ended money worries for so many. It may just do the same for you. Copymycrypto.com/TFH. Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our new sponsor, Hims. That's right. When we leave the house, it's phone, wallet, keys, and how does our hair look? Okay. But if you're experiencing hair loss, you may not be that confident when you step outside your door. It's time to get that confidence back and restore your hair with Hims, okay?
Hims provides access to a range of hair loss treatments that work all from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted treatment options and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. They offer personalized, chewable, oral,
spray, and serum treatment options so you can find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online. Just answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine the treatment that's right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, so if you feel like you're losing a part of yourself with your hair loss, get Hims and get your confidence back.
It's really simple. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/tinfoil. That's HIMS.com/tinfoil for your personalized hair loss treatment options. Okay, that's hims.com/tinfoil.
Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
We have been discussing this on the show, that how like all these videos of horrible flying experiences is all part of what Susan's talking about right now. They don't want you flying. If they want you in a 15-minute city, why would they want you flying?
Makes sense. Yeah.
They want you to be so miserable flying that you decide not to fly. And it's this whole thing. So, like we just talked about my friend who came to my show, who I knew her as a little girl. She went to Berkeley. She came to the comedy show. And, you know, if you talk to people out of Berkeley, they'll be like, dude, they're giving business licenses to anybody for anything as long as they agree to get rid of the parking. That you can't park anywhere. So you can't own a car. Where are you going to park your car if there's no parking spots? And this is the movement out to stop us from moving around and just putting us in a small location and saturating us with propaganda.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And now they're making like homeownership almost unaffordable. You know, I'm hearing about property taxes and insurance that is just astronomical. And so in turn, people are not able to afford their homes, and they're being forced by default to move into, or they would like, I guess the elites would like to have them forced by default to move into these smart 15-minute cities because they'll be more affordable.
Yeah. And it's just like control you, lock you down. And again, you know, I did something on. I'm putting these drive-bys on my locals on Rumble, locals.com/ I think it's SamTripoli .com/SamTripoli about how this whole thing that's going on in Britain right now. So you have, and it's like it's all being manufactured. None of it is being real. None of it is happening organically. So a guy who's a complete Zionist, okay, comes out and says, "Oh, we're not going to sell Israel weapons, and we're going to arrest Netanyahu if he steps." Okay, but you're a Zionist. Why are you saying this? Oh, the very next day, Tommy Robinson, also Zionist, gets all of his guys to go cause chaos in the neighborhoods of these immigrants. And now you have New York. Now you have England burning. I mean, it's all. And then what's he talking about? Locking you down, thought crimes, putting up all of these surveillance videos everywhere, even though they have cameras everywhere. But now it's like already facial recognition stuff.
Like China.
Mm-hmm. Cause a problem. Problem, reaction, solution.
Correct.
Which is
that's correct. And I think, if you wanted to have a healthy society, you would promote peace on both sides, dialogue to forge that understanding. But what you're seeing is, you're having, well, you said problem, reaction, solution, but it's also stoking revolution and destabilizing society. And from that destabilization, you can then, impose the control system. You can also silence debate. Because if you try to explore what's behind, the immigration agenda, well, then now you're a racist. You're a racist because people like Tommy Robinson are promoting hate speech.
Yeah, and he's a complete utter Zionist. He's been talking about forever. You've seen him in IDF clothing everywhere. And, he's just creating chaos right there. And again, like I've been telling you forever, they're already showing videos where people are discovering crates being shipped to their neighborhoods. They're opening them. They have guns in them.
I mean, remember when it was bricks?
Yeah, 100%. I said the exact same thing's going to happen here, man. But this is a reactions. If you want, read this book that Susan has, the Saudi Swindle. Read that. Also check out the G. Edward Griffin's it's his old doc called The Capitalist Conspiracy. Pressure from above, pressure from below. That's how it goes. But it's like so deep, and Susan, does it seem like they're trying to take their shot right now?
I think that they're getting desperate because I think the agenda has derailed, but at the same time, they are still able to print money, and I think they're printing that money to then use that to kind of erect their smart cities. But at the same time, they're stoking chaos. They're pitting people against each other, and I think they're trying to financially devastate the population so that they'll be unable to kind of fight back.
Yeah, I mean, demoralization left and right.
Demoralization.
I mean, so let's get into this. Let's get into like this. I don't know. I want to go where you want to go. I don't want to dictate the.
I'm here as your guest. So if you have an area you'd like to explore, we can do that.
Well, I mean, like you take a look at this Democratic ticket that they got right now, right? I mean, it's like absolutely bazonkers. It's like a Marxist and a socialist. So if you get into, I don't want to get too deep into this, but if you study what happened in Minneapolis, this was the governor who controlled that. This was the governor who didn't send in any National Guard until it was much later, right? You look into the relationship between George Floyd and Derek Chauvin. They both worked at this particular nightclub. Where did George Floyd get that counterfeit money from? Well, this is well known that they were running a Chinese counterfeit operation out of that club.
I remember at the reading at the time that they're actually looking for actors to enact kind of like social commentary of the very sort of type that Floyd was. He was an actor too. Where they were going to kind of create scenarios that would then be used to kind of promote a social justice agenda. And that was wiped out. And I know that George Floyd was promoted by the United Church of Christ, which was Obama's denomination. Like they were promoting this global, Black Lives Matter agenda, which was entirely Marxist.
Now, what's very interesting going back to this, but if you study, I believe there's a Minneapolis 2030
there you go
agenda, which is basically to flip Minneapolis into a smart city.
Oh man!
And we see that in Lahaina, wherever you've seen these giant fires, they want to flip them into smart cities. So you just burn it down and then you rebuild it into your smart city.
Well, there's a reason that everybody who lives that I've seen in Minneapolis has nothing good to say about that guy. Like, I mean, I just saw a news headline like Adam Thielen's wife, because they used to live in Minnesota. It was shit talking him today. You're hearing he'll be one of those guys like Gore, that doesn't do well in his home state. I would be surprised if he does really well.
Well, it's like, why do you pick him? It's a demoralization campaign.
I mean, they're both terrible candidates. Everybody's running. It's just, it's a kick in the gonads.
It's so crazy, right? It gets back into what you were talking about, this demoralization, and like you have a woman that the notion of the first female president is so powerful, and everyone's been kind of waiting for it to get the right candidate. Because, we're all like, yeah, why not? Give them a try. They can't be any worse than all the white guys ruining it. And the black guy that ruined everything. But, man, who do they keep putting forward? Hillary Clinton.
Trash.
What's her face for the American, who's an Indian who came up?
Nikki Haley. Yeah.
Nikki Haley. Do we have two Indians rolling, right? Two Indians running? That's kind of crazy. And then Kamala Harris. They're all awful choices. It's the demoralization campaign.
The only one that had a chance was Tulsi Gabbard, who beat Kamala. And
who got her to quit.
Yeah, and still, they don't even consider her. She's served in the military. Why not give it to her? Because she's not after war. She doesn't want to go into warmongering things.
It's crazy, dude. But again, it's this demoralization campaign to break our spirits, so we demand martial law.
I think Kamala Harris was also the favorite of the city of London because I think she's going to be the one who would implement this Green New Deal, if she's elected.
So, we've had discussions with you before about the three sovereign territories, which are the Vatican, the City of London, and Washington, D.C. People don't realize that. Washington, D.C. is not part of the United States. It's its own sovereign territory, and they act like they are, but you always see them going, hey, man, should we make D.C. part of the United? And they always act like they're about to do it, and then it never happens because the people at the top, the black nobility, the Rothschilds, that's their territory. Would you agree, Susan?
I think it is a separate state. I know you've had Joe Brandon Williams on your show, and he's done a fantastic job. Actually, he pulled up on Dun and Bradstreet to show that the U.S. federal government is actually a corporation, and the location of that corporation is D.C. So it isn't actually part of the United States, like the states that are united together independently, but as a union, they're not actually part of that organization. They are a corporation that's providing services to the people, that is contracting through and with us.
So my question to you, Susan, is do you think the center of power is the City of London? I have a belief that could be Switzerland, and that the City of London, the Vatican, and Washington, D.C. are kind of like stations of these. They're kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, bases almost. They're like bases that cover
like outposts.
The outposts. They're bases that cover the three ways of control humanity: religion, money, and war. You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts on that? Do you have any thoughts on City of London versus, let's say, Switzerland, where the Bank of International Settlements is, the Club of Rome, all that stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. Of course, Switzerland is the only neutral state. You can't. You can declare war in Europe. You cannot attack Switzerland. But I, I think that you're looking at you're looking at the same network. So, London would be the financial capital, DC, the Pentagon's the military, the Vatican is the religious capital. They're all kind of working together. I think Rothschild controls the entire agenda. The Bank of International Settlements would be, you have like the central bank of the central banks. But ultimately, I think this entire financial system is interwoven with, you have the intelligence is working with the militaries, which are working with the universities and religion and the media. And they're all kind of working together as part of one whole to advance the wider global agenda. That ultimate global agenda is led by Rothschild. And of course, it makes sense that, there's a strong power within Switzerland because that is, the BIS, and I think the BIS cannot be audited. And there have been reports that a lot of the money from nations that cannot be accounted for is actually held within the hands of the BIS. So I think you're correct, but I do see this as like a wider network, an interlocking network.
It's so interesting, man. It's so interesting, and you have some really great talking points you want to cover, and that is. Now, let me ask you something. Do you think there's anyone above the Rothschilds? There's there's a saying that if you know their names, they're not running it. Is there anyone above that? The black nobility, the 13 families, any of that stuff? Any thoughts on that?
I know that the name Orsini has been bandied about. I would say, just based upon what I've studied, historically, the Rothschilds insinuated themselves within the British Empire. They systematically overthrew the British and the European monarchies and planted their own governments and people into power throughout those governments. I think if there were anybody who was above the Rothschilds, I would suspect that they're in China. It could be like the ancient Chinese families who have the gold, who have controlled the gold.
Well, Susan, you are the person who came on the show and told me about the Rothschilds and that group going to China to try to take them over. The Chinese were like, no, we'll just take you over. And then they were like, why don't we just work together? Is that what we're talking about here?
Well, remember that the Chinese don't believe in reciprocity, so they'll take.
What does that mean?
Working
together?
It's always the relationship with the Chinese is always one-sided. So it's always to benefit themselves, and you have to concede to them. And I believe that they held, like, going back to throughout history, the Europeans wanted to engage in commerce with them for gunpowder and silks and teas and so forth, but the Chinese always accepted the payment in gold. So they have vast supplies of gold that I think is unrivaled anywhere else.
And everyone's making a run on gold right now. Everybody's doing it. So you have a really great kind of talking points, which is like really, it's something I believe in, and this is that I don't believe revolutions, rebellions happen naturally. I think there is always a hidden hand involved.
I agree.
Okay, so when we get into and I don't know if I discussed this last time with you, but we've had discussions on the show about, were the founding fathers acting on their own, or were they attempting to pull the new territory of America, or what we're sold as the new territory of America? America could be way older, and that's just a psyop. But let's go with this story. That did they use the American Revolution to basically take the territories from the British Crown?
If you look at the relationship between the colonies and the British Crown, it was a mutually advantageous relationship. There was no reason for them to separate, because the Crown provided them money and protection, and the colonies provided them, raw materials. So it was mutually advantageous. It does appear that the Rothschilds tried, their typical strategy, divide and conquer. They kind of sowed discontent. One of the things that they did is, the colonies were printing their own money, their own script. They had prosperous societies.
Yeah.
The Rothschilds put an end to that, demanded that they take out loans from the Bank of England, which they control, thereby putting them into debt. That led to the Boston Tea Party. And then they bankrolled the Hessian mercenaries to attack them. They also pitted the Indians against them because the colonies wanted to move westward. So I think the Rothschilds were behind that war. I believe that the American Revolutionary, the leaders of the American Revolution were probably there were some who were aligned with Britain. There were some who were patriotic. But I think as a whole, they wanted to separate from this corrupt system. They knew what it was about. And I also ran across a report fairly recently that I thought was interesting, and that's that our system of government was based upon the Uruguay Indians. It wasn't actually the French, the Rational Enlightenment or the French Republic. It was the Uruguay Indians who had a representative government in which there were these different divisions, like we had the executive, judicial, legislative, that kind of provide a check on each other's power so that no one branch can become too powerful and dominate everybody else. It was like a mutuality of interest among the participating parties. And that was the type of government that the founding fathers based the new government upon and based the Constitution on. So I think a lot of the new ideas were coming from them, but I think, as you were asking, did the separation need to happen? It probably didn't. But by that point, the Rothschilds had insinuated themselves within the crown, and they were intentionally sowing division to create the separation, put both parties into their debt, and then to financially control both sides.
Yeah, I mean. And you kind of watch, this is their play. This is how they always do it, man. And what they do is they I mean, you look at it even on a smaller scale, like what's going on in Venezuela. I mean, like the CIA, which I think is just an arm of the international banking cabal. They're not, to me, at all law enforcement. I see them as more as let's just say, the security for the elites. Their job is to secure their investments, secure their natural resources, go in, destabilize, come in, and just flip everything. And we're seeing it happen right now in Venezuela. And guess where else we're seeing it happen? In America.
America.
I mean, like, AIPAC is completely controlling every part of our government right now, and they're doing it brazenly in the daylight. They're not even hiding it anymore, and they're bragging about it. They'll tweet about it, like, dog, we gave this guy 100,000. Bang, we got another seat, and that's what's happening.
That's true. I know that the Rockefellers had stated that we have to have a communist revolution in America if we're to secure control over it. And the Rothschilds have controlled our government since the Civil War. Like they transformed the federal government into a corporation, and so I think it makes sense. They built up AIPAC, and AIPAC, Israel is their creation. AIPAC is their creation, and they're using money as they've always done to kind of influence candidates, like to buy their policy. But either way, I think whoever is in power would have to serve the Rothschild syndicate because they are essentially employees of that corporation. And then if you don't play ball, I think you don't wind up staying in power for very long.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our new sponsor, Home Chef. Listen, I love home meal kits. I love my meal kits. I love the meal kits, man. But being able to feast on a delicious meal without the long prep and cook time is what drew me to Home Chef over the other guys. Home Chef meals are effortless, even for someone like me who isn't going to be on Top Chef anytime soon, okay? Home Chef provides fresh ingredients and chef-designed recipes conveniently delivered to your doorstep to simplify your cooking experience, whether you prefer classic meal kits or pre-portioned ingredients and easy instructions, speedy recipes ready in less than 30 minutes, or oven-ready kits with pre-chopped ingredients, or quick microwave meals that assemble in minutes. Home Chef has you and your entire family covered for delicious meals without hassle. Dude, that's it. They got everything. You want to cook a little, or you just want to throw it in the microwave? Bang, bang, pow. Home Chef is it, okay? Home Chef has over 30 options a week and serves a variety of dietary needs. You don't have to worry about what to make ahead of time. Not only is it convenient, but it's economical too. Home Chef customers save as much as $86 per month on groceries. Come on, dude. That's incredible. Home Chef even has delicious kid-friendly family menus with 18 new options each week. It is picky eater approved and takes stress out of dinner time, okay? For a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 15 free meals plus free dessert for life. And of course, free shipping on your first box. That seems insane to me. That's pretty good. So go to homechef.com/tinfoil. I'm in it, dude. That's the most amazing deal I've ever heard. Okay. That's homechef.com/tinfoil for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. What? You heard it right. Okay. Homechef.com/tinfoil. Must be an active subscriber to receive your free desserts. I love this. Home Chef is it. Go to homechef.com/tinfoil. And we see that happening everywhere, man. Mexico, great example, like 98% Catholic, right? Just elected a Jewish person. And now we found out that Israel is selling arms to the cartels. I mean, we're seeing like them taking their shot at like brazenly, dude, too. It's kind of crazy. And, we don't like getting the juju. That's not our style on the show. So I call them Zionists, that's why I believe. And if you take away the word Zionist, I'll call you a Bolshevik. And if you take away Bolsheviks, I'll call you a Babylonian sorcerer. You're never going to control it because it's becoming so obvious to what is going on. But you bring up some really great points. I know we don't have you forever, but so I believe what they do is controlled demolitions of empires.
That's correct. One thing that I was one point I hadn't planned to talk about it, but I think we can, that the communist Christians took back control of the Kremlin. And so essentially we had eliminated the Bolshevik problem. Then our people, we had Larry Summers and our federal government with the first Bush administration and the Clinton administration reinstalled the old communist Bolsheviks into power within the Kremlin by way of the reformers. We then rebuilt the Soviet machine, by giving billions of dollars to the Russians. This created this oligarch class. These people were looting the country. They were looting corporations. They were, claiming all the resources for themselves. And then as a result of this, we have a transnational crime syndicate that is flush with cash that is now consolidated around the Kremlin. And these are like people who are far worse than the mafia. They have a Bolshevik mindset, and then they're tapping into these international networks that Rothschild had already set up, for the drug laundering, drug trafficking, arms trafficking, human trafficking, and it's just getting so corrupt. Like it's kind of spreading like a cancer through all the nations. I think they may be unable to control what the monster that they've created.
Well, they love the monster to be out of control because they can make money off that.
That's
the
true.
monster goes around and stomps on everything. They can make money fighting the monster, rebuilding after the monster, being the monster.
You're right.
So, Candace Owens been talking about this a lot. It's like, this is Sam speaking, not Susan. Like, why is the Holocaust such a big thing in our pop culture, but the Bolshevik Jews killing off Russian Christians at 11 million or 10 million, whatever that number is, nobody ever talks about that. There's a lot behind that. But if you study, Susan, I'd love to hear your opinion because I am full on in like wars on Twitter trying to tell everybody that Hitler was a controlled opposition. He was used by the international banking cabal, at the minimum, the Federal Reserve of America, to go in and just destroy Germany from within, just like they did with the Cultural Revolution of China, and just like they did with the Bolshevik Revolution in America, and when you in Russia, and when you kind of look what's going on in America, it's kind of a combination of almost all three of them, but it's definitely two of them. It is the Cultural Revolution of China and the Bolshevik Revolution of Russia combined into one to try to destroy America from the inside.
That's true. And they're also trafficking drugs into our country and, which are killing our youth. They're fomenting unrest within society. And I think, as you also pointed out, they're demoralizing the people, with corrupt leaders, and then with really crazy, social justice agenda points that, really kind of undermine the fabric of society.
You are so correct. And, again, why do I say what I say on the internet? Why do I do what I do on the internet? One, it's funny, but two, it's that I am pushing back against this cultural revolution that is not real. It's not real. It's astroturfed. It's completely funded by the same people who did the exact same thing in China. Get the youth to hate the older generation and want to destroy them at all, and they don't even understand what they're doing. And then you listen, dude. You can say whatever you want about China. There's a reason why they have to steal all of our technology, because they destroyed all the creative people. They literally had 100 days of roses, and everyone's like, dude, I don't like this government. 100 days over, boom, 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 boom. All the creative people are gone. So then you get in the, it's like. So you get into Germany. Germany has World War I, okay? They basically want to get the pharmaceutical companies out of Germany. Germany is also part of the Abrahamic apocalypse prophecies that they're going to lead the pagans. So you keep destroying them so they can't get it together. But you have, so World War I destroys Germany. They set up the Bank of International Settlements to basically just siphon wealth from Germany so they can never get it right. The bankers set up shop there. And then they're going to let this guy Hitler just naturally just grow up and want to fight them. I mean, you got to be absolutely ridiculous to believe that. And then, dude, he had a slush fund in which all these corporations and bankers put money into. But he comes up to power, gets them annihilated again. That's the whole point. Hitler was 100% controlled. Any thoughts?
Yeah, he was also built up by the Rockefellers in order to threaten England to have England give up control of the Saudi oil, so the Rockefellers could control it and use the Saudi oil for U.S. imperialism, by way of the World Bank. That was another point. And of course, there are by some accounts, Hitler may very well have been a Rothschild. He was the grandson whose mother was allegedly raped at a Rothschild mansion. He himself, he was a poor artist in Austria, but somehow this poor artist who's just trying to find himself becomes the leader of a nation. Well, before he was a leader of the nation, he was trained at the Tavistock Institute, to project his voice in the way that he did, and was very, he's very manic and very, dictatorial in his style, and the actions that he took provided the pretext to, with what he was doing with the Jews, to create Israel, and to promote Zionism. So he was used strategically by both the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, to advance their personal financial objectives and political objectives.
So you believe that's crazy? So a big part of what I think Hitler was there to give them a reason to take Israel. I think, you got to be like, this guy's like, he's fighting the bankers, but at the end, he gave them everything they wanted. Like at the end, like it just worked out for them perfectly at the end. So he gives them Israel. And then, does the crown end up giving up the Saudi oil? Is that what you're saying?
What I think happened is that the Brits had a very tight relationship with the Saudis. I think by terrorizing England, England was able to, the Rockefellers convinced England to surrender the Saudi oil as long as the Rockefellers, who were the shadow power behind the United States, could bring the United States into war against Germany, a creation, we created Nazi Germany, Wall Street did. We could bring them against Nazi Germany to, on behalf of England, crush the Nazis, and then in turn, we would be rewarded with the oil. So the Rockefellers held on to the oil long enough to launch the petrodollar. Then the oil was nationalized. And I think once it was nationalized, it was returned to the Saudis. But the Saudis were by that point controlled by the Rothschilds. So it appears that, that the oil is changing hands, but it's really a way. What happened was that the elites were kind of wrestling the asset away from separate nations and their governments and governmental controls, and putting it within their own hands, within the hands of their proxies.
And it's so interesting because we just saw a whole story come out that the Saudis are moving from the petrodollar, but they're making deals with the Rothschilds, which is super interesting to me.
Yes, they are, and it's interesting that they are the leaders. Like they are the leaders of oil throughout the world. Yet they're also now phasing out oil and promoting AI and smart cities. And of course, they're also buying up a lot of our farmland, which is interesting too.
Do you think they're actually phasing it out, or are they just phasing it out for us, the regular people, and they're going to still drive their gas guzzling jets and their big giant cars while we're sitting on batteries cooking our junk and just messing with our electrical system? Do you think that I just feel like they tell us one thing and they do the exact opposite? Like they want us to be in smaller cars, in smaller houses, while they drive bigger cars with these giant mansions.
I think that's true, because there isn't enough oil, but they want to scale it back for everybody else, like scale back our lifestyles. And I think it's very interesting that these people who are tasked with ending poverty around the world are prioritizing building luxury resorts, throughout the world with public money. And this is considered development and investments by their account. So it appears that they're developing, like they're creating global playgrounds, a very elite, aristocratic for themselves, while we're being told to scale back our own lives.
That is crazy. So let's get into this. Let's get back to the Saudis. The Nixon gets rid of the gold standard, launching fiat currency, printing unlimited money, full faith and credit, which is Babylonian money magic, right?
Correct.
And what through U.S. aid? What is that? And the petrodollar. What happened with that? To establish a monopoly. Go on with that.
Sure. So USAID was an organization that was created by John F. Kennedy, and that enabled us to funnel public funds into the organization to then develop the world. And so once we had the petrodollar, a fiat currency backed by oil, we could then funnel billions of dollars to different countries, essentially developing those countries and enabling this clique to establish monopolies within them. And these are the people now who are the billionaires and, the oligarchs. So we're we're essentially enriching them at our own expense, and we're left holding the debt.
So you put us on the petrodollar. Our money is backed by the dollar. They've nationalized Saudi oil. Okay. And then we see an overproduction of oil wells, and this causes profits to drop. So how do you stop that? You basically damage you just kind of take out the fields, which stops the production of oil. Is that what you're saying? When
the Saudis decided to nationalize their oil wells, they were going to push the Rockefellers out. And given that these people are very greedy, they decided, look, we're going to get every last drop of profit we can out of these wells before we leave. And so they overproduced the wells. And by overproducing the wells, they damaged them. And so what happened is that there was some type of water or mixture that then was introduced into the production lines, and that degraded the quality of oil, and that ensured that the system that they had set up with the petrodollar would no longer be viable for the long term. And that's when they began to talk about about sustainable development and climate change, and how we now have to scale back because that fuel that we thought was going to be there was no longer available.
And that hurts the dollar.
Correct.
And then then everything, and again, to me, they're talking about who's the big Warren Buffett, right? They're talking about Warren Buffett is trying to tank the economy, and what do we say? How he says all the time, best time to buy is when the economy is tanking. Yeah. But he's now imagine if you had billions of dollars, you could buy up so much more.
Well, and he's in cash right now. It seems like he's prepping for a recession, is what it seems.
So
like.
He has a lot of cash. We're saying,
yeah, he's got money sidelined, waiting to put it into the markets. It seems.
Just sitting there waiting after they controlled demolition everything.
Yeah, I mean, he sold some Apple, which is unusual for him. He's usually
very
deep in Apple. So liquidating his assets.
So keep an eye on him if you're trying to invest.
Yeah. So we always follow Warren Buffett. So where does BRICS come into this whole thing, in your opinion?
So BRICS was a way of dealing with the decline of the petrodollar. So we're told in the media that this is a fairly new development, but BRICS, which was called BRIC back then, Brazil, Russia, India, China, was a new common market that they were trying to create an alliance. But this was being established for the development of the third world. So it wasn't meant to be an alternative to the U.S. dominated system, but it was a way for them to kind of realign away from the petrodollar to develop those countries. And of course, recently Saudi Arabia has joined BRICS, as and BRICS now has South Africa involved. So BRICS is about global development. These major countries like Saudi Arabia, which have trillions in their sovereign fund, Russia and China have large sovereign funds where they can now invest in these developing countries and then ensure that the global elite can, establish monopolies and develop, develop commerce within those countries that they control. But it's more geared at the developing countries.
So we get into this. It's a very famous hammer and nail, discussion about all the countries that didn't have Federal Reserves. And before 9/11, how many of them are either don't or we're currently trying to figure out a way to get into war with them. So we basically, the United States, along with Zionism, seems to be into nation building and going, and those nations that they want to build all tend to have oil. That seems to be it, right? But it's just really weird because we have a ton of oil. It seems like, is there something deeper than just the oil? Is it possible that oil is a front to something deeper, which is these dark Satan, Babylonian sorcerers wanting to destroy the history of our world, destroy these holy places? Anything like that?
Well, I'll address that two ways. For the last question that you asked, I think that's true. Just if you study their pattern throughout history, they always destroy the culture, the relics, the statues, and the history of the people. But they hoard that knowledge within themselves. But then they destroy the people's sense of who they are, their own personal and cultural histories, so that they can then remake them in the image that they want, or reinvent those histories. But I think the reason why they will not allow us to develop our oil is they want us dependent, so they can control the price of oil, who has it, how much we get, control the gold, and control the monetary supply, and then they kind of pull the different aspects of the economy on strings, and then we end up being beholden to them, where we are dancing to their tune, and we're not operating as a sovereign nation.
Yes, I think that's really it. I think they're trying to just again, controlled demolition this place from inside. Get us so reliant on everywhere else that if anything, any kind of connection breaks, the whole system just get out of whack, and our economy crashes. And when you study what our military did with free trade, which was go into these countries and go, hey, if you let us put military base here, we'll let you have a free trade agreement with America, but you could tariff our goods. The elites have been working against us the whole time.
Yes, they have.
I know we can't have you much longer, but real quick, what are your thoughts on Zionism, its role in JFK assassination, any of these other conspiracies? And it just seems like they seem to be almost at every single conspiracy.
They are. I think that there is a historic Zionism, and that was that according to biblical prophecy, the Jews were promised their own homeland, though that may have been a new vintage from the Schofield Bible. But I think that the Jews were always expected to have their own kingdom someday. But this would be a kingdom that was developed by God. By their divine providence. And I think that the Rothschilds hijacked the Zionist destiny. They took over, and we discussed this before, the British Crown. The British Crown was a defender of the Christian faith, not only within England, but throughout Europe and the world. They took over the crown. They eliminated the Christian monarchs, destroyed the Christian Europe and the Christian governmental structures to implant a type of satanic regime in its place. And I think Zionism is really about using the pretext that the destiny that the Jews were meant to have as God's people, and Christians are also God's people, for themselves, to establish the seat of government in Israel under Rothschild, and then ultimately to have the Rothschild appoint the leader who would then serve at the seat of government throughout the world. So I think it is a Rothschild Zionist conspiracy. I don't see it as a Jewish conspiracy, but it is a conspiracy that has been acknowledged by the Rothschilds themselves to establish a global dictatorship. And I think they operate through Zionism to achieve that dictatorship. And as we've discussed also, on different shows, you can trace the bloodlines and the commercial relationships back to the Vatican. The Vatican merchants worked with the Khazarian, Mongolian, Turkish mercenaries who are very bloodthirsty. These were the people who were the Bolsheviks who committed terrible atrocities against the Russian people, and who I think are creating fomenting a lot of dissent within our country. So it's a different type of mindset. I don't think they're the Jews, but it's an agenda that is being led by Rothschild that is very much against Judeo-Christian Europe and is trying to implant itself as God's temporal authority on earth.
I agree with you completely. That is the whole point of what we say on this show all the time. And we get pushed back real hard. It's not Jews, okay? It is Babylonian sorcery that goes way beyond Abrahamic religions. I'm just telling you. You guys get mad at me all you want. I'm just telling you. It's just this is what's going on. And it's like the notion that Zionism is about the Jews having a homeland and that's it is so naive. It's like climate change being about saving the planet, when in reality it's about destroying your freedoms and destroying your economy so they control every aspect of your life while they freely do whatever they want to. And that's how it goes. And that's why you have a bunch of Zionists in Israel following Talmudic religions, which has its name in it, the Babylonian oral history of the rabbis. It's right there. You guys don't understand any of this. And it's 90D chess. It's so beyond just blatant, simple takes, man. It's like layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. But the core, at the center of the rotten onion is, in fact, fallen angels versus God. And that's everything. Susan, thank you so much for working with us. We've had a really crazy day today with our studio acting up and all that stuff. So one more time, can you please tell them where they can find your book and anything else you would like to promote?
Well, thank you so much for having me. So my website is susanbradford.org. I would encourage your audience to get the Saudi Swindle, because that book documents how they set up this vast money laundering apparatus to essentially redistribute our assets to themselves. So I think it's important for you to know how they're trying to set this up and where the agenda is going. And I would also encourage your audience, if they're interested, to follow me on my Substack, which you can link through my website, susanbradford.org. And I try to break, news on the mechanics, the machinations, and behind the elite, to inform you of what they're doing, the thought process behind it, the money and the agenda behind it, so that you can be empowered with knowledge and reclaim your freedoms with that knowledge. So that's my goal. And I'd love for your audience to join me there if they're interested. Of course, Substack. We're doing a lot of stuff on Substack over there as well, too. So you can find Substack.com/SamTripoli. I'm putting a lot of stuff over there. I'm going to work with Mark on creating a whole kind of if you're a conspiracy theorist, you wrote an article, you want people to find it, put it up there, and we're going to send people there as well. Susan, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate it. And we'll have all the links below so you can check out Susan's Substack. And let's break down this episode. All right, guys, what'd you guys think?
We got to start making our own oil.
We already make our own oil. We got to start using our own oil.
There we go.
I don't know what the answer is, dude. Sam, what is the point? The point is you got to know what's going on and you got to hedge your bets so you don't fall for the cultural Marxism that they're pushing on us. And just dude, gold and silver. If the Chinese are doing it, if the Russians are doing it, you should be doing it. I'm honestly thinking about, guys, I want to run this by you. Just take a big chunk of my bank account, what I have, and just buying a big chunk of gold.
Well, because
I think something's coming, dude.
Well, I mean, Johnny was just saying that who has cash ready to go?
Oh, Warren Buffett. Yeah, I mean, he's in cash. So if the whole economy implodes, he's fucked too, because he's got his money side.
Yeah, but do you think he's effed?
No, not really. I'm saying, but
he has gold. He has everything in reserve. He's one of the masters of mankind, dude.
No, he'll be fine. I mean, don't get me wrong. He will be fine. He has a bunker, I'm sure, and he's also like 90-something years old, so he's not too really worried about the future.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, 100%. It's kind of crazy. It's like I'm thinking about it, dude, because I think something's coming, and I've been effed in my B so many times by these international banking cabal.
I wonder though, because you're talking about buying a lot of gold. You just have to make sure it's broken down in a way that you can spend it in the event of,
I've been purchasing silver for a while.
Yeah, silver would be the same kind of thing.
So I have a lot of coins, but my whole point is like if I get gold, and the market crashes, I still have my value.
Yeah.
That later on, whenever the new system comes, I could trade it in, or I could go, hey, man, I like your house. Would you like a gold bar for it?
Yeah. If I was you, I would go ahead and work on the property part too. Though.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I talked to my cousin last night. She was just like, we should get a bug out place where we just all buy it.
I mean, you guys are obviously all invited to the farm in the event of the apocalypse.
But it's getting there. It's getting there. It's getting to the farm.
Yeah, that's it. How do we get from LA to the farm?
I would walk probably.
You would walk. What are you hitchhiking?
Like Forrest Gump.
I mean, that's it. I'm down with all of us buying a place. We should have bought that land in Tennessee where they had it on the hill and you had the three.
Yeah, that's just as far though. If shit goes down, like when it first seems like it's going down, I'm on a plane to North Carolina right away.
And what's the first sign, Johnny? Because that's what we always say all the sign. What's the sign of I'm leaving LA COVID. Right now to North Carolina?
There'll be something on the news about how they're considering martial law or something like that. You know, the curfews are being installed.
Then you're out. That second you're out. It got kind of like here in LA. You didn't know no one. I'm trust me.
Well, I left during COVID.
Oh, you're right.
Like a while.
You were one to dip out.
It was, and those first flights, when people were really afraid, were the best because they were empty, and I got upgraded every time. It's fantastic. The airport was empty.
You shooting someone?
What?
You shooting someone?
I'm only shooting in defense, but fuck around. Like, oh, dude, I don't even want to tell you what I heard is going on with these Venezuelan gangs. Somebody's saying last night that they're
drug gangs.
They're jamming security. And they're robbing.
Well, how electronically?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what happens when you put all your faith in security.
I mean, that's why I'm going to get a rack that my kids can't grab with a gun right there, ready to go. Bang, bang, pow, let's go.
Have you ever seen those commercials for those things that you can, I don't even know if it's real, but it's like it's above your bed and it looks like it's part of your bed, but you can just kind of push your hands up. And the shotgun just drops right down like that.
Look it up. I'll buy it right now.
If I can find.
But I might get my AK and just get that ready to go.
See, but okay, so Tucker Carlson just had some prepper on guy, and he was saying like, if shit hits the fan and you live in the city, people are gonna come to you. Like gangs are gonna come to you trying to get your food. No, are you gonna start shooting everybody?
Yeah.
It's the gun bed, Sam. There you go.
I could see Sam.
Dude, definitely give me a gun bed. You guys,
I would 100% get this. Here,
look at this.
How much is the gun bed?
Let's see.
There is a solution: the patent-pending gun bed.
You saw that?
The gun bed is quite possibly the biggest breakthrough in home defense since the invention of the firearm.
How old
the gun
is this
bed allows
video?
fast access to a firearm while keeping it secure off the floor,
is this
out
still
of the closet,
available? Is
or
it
the
only
nightstand,
available
and away
wood?
from curious children when locked. In the event you hear an intruder and think it would be wise to investigate, the shotgun can quietly be removed, although I use the loudest racking shotgun I could find, because the last sound an intruder wants to hear is the sound of a shotgun racking a shell. That sound is a universal language that may cause an intruder to flee.
Your partner's head off.
No. You got to practice a little bit, but I just love that. I used to see those commercials on TV.
If shit hits the fan, as we say, is the phones going out? Because if the phones go out...
me and my cousin, she just sent me some. We should all grab those walkie-talkies that go nationally.
Here you go, Sam.
How much? The new one? How much?
American Concealed
$3,000
just for that.
That's without the frame too. If you want the frame, it's $3,700. You want king bed. We're talking $5,100.
I'm pretty sure we can get a swarm member
But
that
you
makes
can-
some craftsmanship,
you can
make
get
us a
any
bed for
color
way
you want.
cheaper
You
than
can get
that.
black.
What are we doing, bro? Yeah, man. But back to the episode. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
And these nationwide walkie-talkies ain't that expensive, honestly.
Yeah, man. We get 4
How do
of
they
them.
work, though? Because if they work by satellite, they're not going to work in the apocalypse, probably, because they're going to shut access down to that.
I don't know, dude.
Let's see. If they work by, like, radio frequency, then that's a whole different thing. Let's see.
The rapid radios, that's the one I found. They're like $600.
How do they work, though?
Just trying to figure that out right
Two-way
now.
radios. It says radio, so if it really is a two-way radio, then it works by probably like bouncing off the atmosphere, the ionosphere.
The government cannot listen in. That's the first thing it says.
Yeah, the government cannot. What? Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Let's see. No, that's push to talk. That's not the same thing. Two-way radio. Two-way radios in this category work using cell towers and Wi-Fi to provide national coverage.
Okay, so we're fucked. So we're fucked.
These walkie-talkies work anywhere there's cell signal. Oh, this guy says two-way radios exposed. Let's see what he's saying.
Rapid radios. These are internet-connected radios that a user, one of you guys, one of you commenters told me about, and it was on the comment of my emergency radio video that I did that said, "Is this a scam?" Yes, it is, because they're making claims that are false. These are internet-connected radios, and you buy them in pairs, and these cost $400. So I spent $400 so that you guys don't have to. This video that I'm making right now has given me an idea for a new video that is basically labeled, "Why is Radio Off-Grid?" There's a lot of off-grid comms, off-grid prepping, off-grid life, off-grid solar, off-grid batteries, blah, 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 blah. Search YouTube for off-grid or just Google it, and you'll see how many different things are out there about off-grid. The only truly off-grid communications type today is radio. Radio is point-to-point because you can use one radio to talk to another radio without an infrastructure in the middle. These do not fit that bill.
Those rapid radios are
and
not.
if you ever see POC radios, basically stands for push to talk over cellular. Well, once you add cellular into the mix, you no longer have a point-to-point contact, so you know you are no longer off-grid.
So
anything called an internet radio...
Well, you need like ham radio probably, or what? Let's see what.
Didn't they make those illegal?
I don't think so.
Okay. Also, last thing I'll say about this, okay? They have a Facebook page. I wonder if I could pull that up real quick. So before I show you the Facebook page, I want to tell you about Ham Radio Prep. If you want to get an actual, real radio license, head over to hamradioprep.com.
You need a license for that?
Yeah, to do ham radio. My grandpa used to have one. We would talk to people on the other side of the world. It was cool.
So this is the Facebook page. I think they have a private group.
Oh, that's
also. I
the
don't
one.
remember now, but this is the Facebook page. Okay.
This is
so
a good one. Or
I went and commented on.
I mean,
I made two comments on one post on
cellular.
their Facebook page, and they deleted them because I couldn't find them again. I couldn't find those comments again when I went back to look for them later that day, and I couldn't even pull up the page. I had to log into my Facebook account rather than my. I think I was commenting as my Facebook page, Ham Radio 2.0, but they deleted the comments and didn't answer me. So you see right here, it says we are the only company in the USA to offer nationwide walkie-talkies with no monthly fees and no licenses. Well, we've already determined that the no monthly fee is a false claim. And one of the comments I made to them was, well, what about? They said, someone had asked, are you going to offer a true? Like basically put their my emergency radio and this one together and offer a VHF UHF true radio with this built into it. And their reply was, well, no, we're looking at that, but no one does that yet. And I replied, aha. Actually, Waxon has a KG V55, I think it is. KG V55, walkie-talkie UV dual band 4G LTE 3G WCDMA public network radio analog scan receiver. This radio
That's
right here.
it?
Waxon actually sent me one of these. They sent me two of them a while back, and I never did anything with them because at the time I didn't want to go buy a SIM card. Okay, I would have had to gone to buy a SIM card. This was before Mint Mobile was around, I think. And I looked at getting a couple of SIM or adding a SIM to my AT&T plan, and I didn't want to pay for that at the time. So I never did anything with these radios. But Waxon has for a long time. This is not a new radio. This has been around for a long time. So when I made that comment on there, I was like, well, what about the Waxon KG V55? It has true dual band and POC LTE support, and they've been around for years. They deleted my comment, kicked me from the page. But not before I made a second comment, because somebody was asking about monthly fees, and they're asking, well, how can you possibly get free internet from all the cell providers that you claim? And they said, well, we pay that for you. And then I came along and said, well, what about the $50 a year that you claim on your website? And they deleted that comment too. So this is their.
So yeah, that's just not. I wouldn't suggest that product.
Yeah.
I mean, according to this guy, allegedly, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you want to make sure you're getting something that works. When the cell grid goes down.
Two-way radio.
Crazy time.
Here's one, Sam, 6-pack.
What?
Here's one of them. 6 of those two-way radios.
But those work?
You gotta see what the tech is, right? I also want to get a bunch of survival food for emergencies, because it's not like we're gonna be able to hunt around here.
I'm not gonna lie. We should get. I mean, I don't know how we haven't had a sponsor where they just give us dry food.
I've been looking into that, trying to get. I mean,
my Patriot Supply hit me up a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah, we should hit them up again.
Yeah,
but I don't know where it is.
We should, you know what they should do is let us pick like Sam Tripoli's favorite meals or whatever, and then you could have your Sam Tripoli box or whatever, or bucket or whatever the hell.
What do you guys have anything for prepping, like canned food, canned tuna, anything?
I have some canned stuff.
I have my Patriot Supply. I have my Patriot Supply. Yeah,
dude, there was a guy on. We should just get. They have a bunch of MREs for sale always on Facebook too, and we could just get some of those. That because the way those work now, they have those chemical reactions that like heat up the pouch on its own, so it kind of cooks itself. Anyway, yeah, fun show today.
Yeah, crazy ass show. All right, go to SamTripoli.com. And guys, the affiliate, SamTripoli.com, check out my dates. Bang, bang, pow, Jade on the Water in Long Beach. And I got some more. Every time I get a date, I have a personal family thing coming up. So it's getting harder and harder to go on the road. So listen, guys, I'm going to say something. Here's what I'm working on. I have premium content on SamTripoli.com. I have Dangerous on there. You don't see Dangerous because we don't let the normies see it. There's no Dangerous is on there. It's $8 a month. You're getting Dangerous. Johnny Cash reads the Bible. I do it with Giovanni Vuk and my boy Logan Smith. You're getting Only Conspiracies. You're getting all this stuff. We're doing nothing but banging on there, okay? I'm also got a Substack. I'm putting it on there. If you prefer Substack, I'm not putting Dangerous on there, but I'm putting everything else on there, and I'm not putting Johnny Cash on there. But Substack, I'm putting a bunch of stuff on there. What I'm talking to these guys about is a lot of you guys don't like the ads, so we're thinking about doing a Substack where you just get tinfoil hat without the ads.
Is that not just on your web? You don't have that on your website, like your premium website on the premium?
No. I want to keep Sam Tripoli premium, just the stuff I do, not the show. Do you understand?
I understand.
So it's just Sam Tripoli doing his premium content.
Got it.
If we do that live. And then I'm doing some stuff on locals as well. I'll have that all there. If you want to support, if you're looking to make money in these crazy times, CashDaddies.com.
It's the moment right now.
Go to CashDaddies. Go to patreon.com/CashDaddies, and you will...
And it's a lot of like what we talked about earlier, like what Warren Buffett is up to. We keep track of those
where
kinds
to
of
invest,
things.
how to get in, calls, puts, all that stuff. And it's like super cheap compared to other people doing that stuff. And then I just go down. We got Chaos Twins going to come out again. We got T-shirts for you. But I want you guys to check out our affiliate program. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, dude. Get into the precious metal. Dude, everybody's buying gold. Countries are buying gold. Get gold. Buy gold. Just go to SamTripoli.gold. Use the promo code tinfoil, and you'll get as little as $50 a month. You can get precious metals sent to your house. Go back. You have the Rife Technologies. You have AquaCure, hydrogen brown gas. You have our good friends at Harley Race. If you need crystals, you need candles, you need anything, great place to go, okay? Check that out. Click the banner. Then we have my boy at Chemical Free Body. I had that today. I just had right before we recorded this episode. I did all my favorite. I did all my supplements for him. I take it. This is something I take every day. Supplements from Chemical Free Body. You can use it too. Then we also have, EMF Rocks. If you're looking for Faraday bags, you're looking for stuff that blocks that dirty electricity, go to EMF Rocks. We just had them on. It's a great way to just clean up your house, get better sleeps so you don't have to deal with your dirty electricity from your cell phone. Then we have Prometheus. If you're looking for a decentralized website, that's who you go to. They build up your websites. That's where you go to SamTripoli.com, completely decentralized. And then, of course, Brain Supreme. We're very excited about it. My good friend Xavier Guerrero is taking them all the time.
Got those samples for me today?
Oh, yeah, I do. I really do have them. They're at the house.
Oh, okay.
I'll have them. I'm going to talk to them, have them sent right here, Johnny, so you could have some.
I appreciate it.
Okay? What do you think there,
Oh,
Xavier?
dude.
He's already boofed all of them.
I'm asking the best questions, not falling asleep, dude. I'm a new person.
You are. You really are a new person.
I'm a new
I have to ask him
person.
how many times is he doing the shrooms? Is he shrooming? But microdosing, this is the way to go. Focus. I really do want to do it during jiu-jitsu. I'm very close to pulling the trigger on that. I want to try it.
I would try it. Have you tried it all?
Well,
Try it
everyone
not.
tells me there's no.
He's got different packets. The black sheep, that's like the tripping one type of thing. But he's got these athletes feel good. Then he's got a genius one where he's different times to take it.
Yeah, but everyone I talk to who's taking it says you don't feel a high.
I don't think you're supposed to. Yeah. It's
real
So if it's not a high, I mean, Zen jacked me.
That's true.
Zen was way worse than what
nicotine
these.
is legit. I mean, it's like
it was chaos.
Yeah, they put enough in there to really put you on.
It's crazy, guys.
It's funny,
Anyways,
because if you would have done zinc, maybe when you were partying and gunning, you would have what's this weak shit?
Yeah, I know, but dude, I almost got in a car
A lot of people
crash.
commented though, saying that after that broken sim, saying that they had similar experiences with that shit.
Yeah, it's really crazy, dude. Okay, guys, anything else? Sam Tripoli's everything you need all the time. Everything you need all the time.
Little bit of everything all the time.
And this guy told me, he goes, I go to 2 websites. I go to Infowars and SamTripoli.com. I am putting out an episode almost every day on Tinfoil Hat on SamTripoli.com of all my podcasts. That's how we do it. Hanging and banging.
Come hang out with me on Twitter at Johnny Woodard.
With me, go to Extreme Marks the Spot. I just went deep sea fishing for all you rednecks out there. I caught a yellowtail, so go catch a yellowtail.
Okay. All right, guys, check it out. And enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest broken sim.
You wanted more XG? You got XG this episode.
Can we get a rock? Is what I want to know.
Can we know that? Yeah,
no, I want a rock.
My question is, dude, should we just get rid of all that intro in Tinfoil Hat and just get into it?
Yeah, you talked to me about that a few times.
I've been watching a lot of podcasts, and they just get into it.
What do you mean? They just start we're talking now.
Dude, some of them they're halfway in the middle of a sentence and they start to know. They don't even wait.
Wait, but we can't. You're gonna let go of the famous intro song?
I don't know. That's what the question.
The intro song is long. People love that song. I love that song, but it is long.
Okay, well, I mean,
if you let it go, you can't completely let it go. At least put it at the end of the podcast now.
No, we'll let that go. That's fine.
I think you're just saying you don't want to do the part where you're like, "Good morning, Swarm," and then
introduce
blah, blah, blah,
you guys.
Yeah,
mostly
stuff.
Introducing you guys. And is it too much? Do we just get into it? That's the question.
You have some people. You know what it is? Now that I think about it, you don't want to say people's names no more.
No. That's
I think he just wants to go straight into convo.
I know, dude. It's just is the new thing just to get right into it?
Yeah. We should say now. We used to do the intros live, and then so that the guests didn't have to sit there and listen to us talking.
Yeah.
We started doing them after we actually record the episode. So Sam's already forgotten their name by that point, how to pronounce it. So XG might be on to something.
No, that's not it. What I'm talking about is do people want us just to get right into it?
You probably, yeah. Well, I'll say this.
Is that the new fad? Are the kids doing it?
I'll say I think that you might actually be better served to do your promo in the middle, like promoting your dates and stuff, as an ad break.
The
almost.
only person I see is Jimmy Dore goes, "Hey man, see us in blah 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 blah," and he opens the show.
Yeah, maybe, but
that's how quick
But I
it
think
is.
most people skip that, like our intro. So maybe you could put it in an ad break, like I could put it after one of the ads, before one of the ads.
Yeah,
and then more people would probably hear it that way.
Yeah,
so.
I think you're right.
And then
okay,
you could cut it out of the intro.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, Xavier's here. What happened was we were supposed to have, we're doing this broken sim at a time when we were going to do a tinfoil hat, but as you know, the powers that be are after us. And Zoom just shit the bed. So we were supposed to interview the incredible Chris Gore on the breaking down of just Hollywood's death. And I was looking forward to that episode, and it just didn't happen. So here we are. Xavier's in, wearing his LeBron James jersey and his really cool hat.
That is a cool hat.
Your merch is fire, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, we trying. We got new stuff coming.
If I had to describe it, I would probably say it's fully toxic, is what I would say.
Yeah, I would say that's
there
toxic.
you go.
Are you going to have an even deeper brand called called toxic as fuck, and you're just.
I don't think it can be more toxic than fully toxic. That's 100%.
Johnny knows. Johnny knows.
Double it down.
I'm gonna use Johnny as my marketing guy.
Respect, dude. Respect, guys. Respect. So it's good to be in it. We got this new format of the show where we get into the hot story. So what do you want to talk about, Johnny?
You had mentioned before the Rogan special. A lot of people are. I watched it. It was live, which to me is incredible. I'm waiting for your camera to come back. The feedback on it from some people has been really negative, and I just don't get it.
It's why I hated when comedy clubs would leave comment cards. Tell us who you love. Well, most people that like something, they're not going to write anything. They're just going to go up to the comic, say, "I love this guy," and then walk off. It's like people got nothing going on in their life are the ones who leave the negative comments.
It's people who respond to pollsters also, same kinds of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's just stupid. So that's who's going to and it's like we talked last week. Like, there's a 100% spectrum, and 80% of it is normies. You have on the far left that was clever people that nobody laughs at, including themselves. And then you have the edgy, I get called an edgelord all the time. I'm an edgelord. Trust me, I am not an edgelord. I have thoughts that are edgelord, and I don't talk about them. I try to keep it in the real all the time. Yeah. So you have that again, that 10 at the end, 10 at the end, and the 80 in the middle. Most of the 80 in the middle, like especially in the middle of that, have no understanding how to understand the far left and the far right.
Dipshits, we call them.
Right? The dipshits, and they get so angry because, again, they think comedy should be patty cakes. But my biggest problem with the reaction to Rogan is the comics that are saying shit.
A lot of his talk about the Jack scene, as we call it here,
getting angry.
I mean, people are getting really angry about that.
Oh, dude, I before I would tell you.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hack.